Hi guys, welcome to the shack. So some of you may have noticed that I've managed to pick up a JRC NRD535. I got it from Lindar's Radios a few weeks ago. They come up for sale so rarely that I wasn't really ever expecting to be able to get hold of one, and you know, let's be honest, didn't really need it. But when I got the 525 several years ago, that was the first JRC radio I'd owned, and to be honest with you, it immediately became obvious it was one of the best performing receivers in the shack, one of the most capable. And obviously that's in line with JRC's reputation for building excellent receivers, for not just for amateur use but for commercial applications, etc. So anyway, so I saw this radio advertised with Lindar's, and obviously I know them, and just phoned up, and the price was reasonable, about what I would have expected to pay, and I literally couldn't stop myself, so I purchased it. And it's interesting actually, because it's kind of similar to the 525 in a way. It's analog. They went DSP with the 545. It's triple conversion versus the 525, which is double conversion. They're similar in a lot of respects. Mine is the standard 535, so it doesn't have the ECSS module. The 535D added that. I think there was also a variable bandwidth control on the 535D, and then there was also a 535DB with some additional board options for other types of applications. But what's interesting is that the one drawback with the 525 was the audio quality. It's always a bit muffled, and which wasn't really an issue on strong signals, because it kind of made them, the audio was kind of more centered to the lower frequencies. It made, Radio 4 on long wave sound even more like armchair copy. But on DX, where you want the audio sort of spectrum to be more towards the higher frequencies, it was a bit of an issue. And I used to improve the audio with the Bose speaker. Now, what is supposed to have been the issue on the 525 was corrected on the 535, and it's supposed to have better audio, and I think it does, but only slightly. Now, I've recorded a video comparing the audio on both radios with the same signal, just with one of my Welbert loops going through a switch and through the RF splitter. And I can't really detect much difference in the quality of the audio, but when you guys see that video, you can let me know. But overall, yeah, it's brilliant radio, similar sort of heavy duty construction, a better display that also flickers at 60 frames per second. So I'm recording videos at 24 frames per second, because otherwise you see the sort of the refresh rate on the display causes it to flicker. But it's a better display than the earlier model. The 525 was manufactured from 1986 to 92. There was about a year of crossover. I think the 535 came onto the market in 91, and they built it until 1998, when it was replaced, as I say, with a 545 DSP. Brilliant radio. Dynamic range is actually supposed to be slightly worse on the 535. I think it's 88 dB at 2.6 kilohertz versus 92, although JRC have a CW spec at 3 kilohertz of I think 106 dB, but basically very, very similar dynamic range. Sensitivity the same, from up to 30 megahertz or 34 megahertz on the 525, which is half a microvolt. Obviously, although mine doesn't have the ECSS, it has the passband tuning, or passband shift, plus or minus 1 kilohertz, 200 memories, a notch filter, 2 notch filters with a level control, which is actually really useful. Noise blanker, which is also sorry, I was talking about the noise blanker, sorry, not notch filter. So it's got a notch filter, and it's the noise blanker that has 2 levels with a control. Squelch, which I don't really use, but it's there. RF gain, I find that with the AGC RF gain, I normally set it about 3/4. And then in terms of the audio with the tone control, because the audio on the 535 it probably isn't quite as muffled as 525, but it still, for me, it's not muffled, but it's, again, the audio spectrum seems to centre more on the lower frequencies, so I've got the tone control nearly sort of fully wound in all the time, but that's fine. I've been using it with the Bose. And yeah, overall, it's just another very, very capable receiver. They're a bit fiddly to set up. I've made that even worse because I've been using it with the MFJ noise cancelling signal enhancer, which does work actually, and recorded several target signals for you guys to listen to. I've posted 2 or 3 already, I think. And yeah, so it's the kind of radio that you need to take the time to read the manual, figure out how to optimize all the various settings to maximize your chances of hearing a weak signal or hearing a signal as well as it possibly can be heard. And yeah, overall, it's a brilliant radio. Sideband stability is excellent, upper lower sideband. The bandwidth setting for sideband is supposed to be inter, but it actually also, on a stronger signal with the wide bandwidth setting on sideband, also works very well. Yeah, it's been a joy to get to know it. I did a bit of research on it. It won the 1991 World Radio and TV Handbook Industry Award for Best Communications Receiver. It was that at the time was the most respected accolade in the sort of radio hobby at the time. WRTH also gave it 5 stars in their sort of annual review, and they considered it the benchmark analog receiver at the time. Praised a lot actually for its audio quality being better than the 525, but that I'm not that sold on, if I'm honest with you. Apparently Low Electronics offered mods to it addressing the AGC behaviour, the ECSS performance and audio quality. And yeah, second-hand values have basically gone up over time because obviously JRC has an almost legendary kind of reputation with shortwave listeners and DXers. And the only known weakness is really, apparently there's some display generated noise on long wave, which is worse than the 525. I've not noticed that at all. The AGC attack time is too slow for fast computer controlled scanning, which won't bother me. The S meter reads low on weak signals. Under S5 apparently it doesn't actually show anything, and so presumably someone's tested that and has empirical data to support that. I've seen that actually. I was listening to CHU Canada time signal last night or this morning, and it was perfectly audible, but the S meter wasn't moving at all, so that's definitely an issue that I am aware of. So yeah, overall it's a great radio. I didn't need to buy it, but it's just one of those radios that when they come up for sale I literally can't stop myself, and I have to thank Lindar's Radios again, because they're just a great bunch of people offering a great service, and you should check out their website if you're in the market for a shortwave radio or communications receiver or amateur radio equipment. Actually, they sell that as well, because they offer a superb service. I paid over the phone, and within 2 or 3 days the radio was here. So yeah, all good. I will probably do some more back-to-back testing against the 525 at some point. I've done one test, but that's really only about the audio. I think the difference in dynamic range is so small that it's probably not going to be noticeable in terms of weak signals or strong signal sort of handling. So, but in terms of sensitivity, it might be worth a test. So yeah, there it is, the JRC NRD535, one of the best communication receivers of all time, and it's in the shack, and yeah, I'm really enjoying using it. So there's lots of other things I could say about it, but they've probably already been said before, so from my point of view, yeah, hope you enjoyed the video, and on to the next one. Thanks for watching. 7-3.